I can check that real
Okay,
quick.
because
Yes,
I
you are live on the
can't.
page. I see it.
Okay, I can't see the comments on the page. Can you?
I can, yeah.
Okay, great.
I can bring that up. Yeah.
Okay, thank
Now,
you. This is new to me, and I'm trying to figure it out.
the comments will pop up here in StreamYard too.
Okay, cool. Great. Thank you.
No problem.
Okay. 2 seconds. Let me tell Sonia back on. Okay, we are good to go.
Cool. I got
So
shared to my normal
hi.
profile too.
That'd be great.
Shared it to my page, all that stuff.
Okay. Welcome to Friday with the Blue Box, where we don't care what genre you write in as long as you write. And so happy to have you here and so happy to finally do an interview. And hopefully, the skills you have taught me will help me as we move forward in life.
Yeah, we got this.
We got this together. Now I have a My Little Pony song stuck in my head. Oh, that's okay. I keep Night Train, and then yesterday you added Mr. Jones and Me to it. So yeah, why not?
Yeah, that was not the original title at all. It was just called Mr. Jones, and I was fucking with it one day, and I did the whole Mr. Jones and Me thing just to screw with people, and apparently it worked really well.
Yeah, you got stuck in there, and then Dante has no idea, but he keeps Night Train stuck in my head because we're always talking about the Night Train.
Right. Awesome.
So, okay. Hi, Raz. You are a haunter, an ex-wrestler, a author, and are you a
Retired
professor yet?
musician. No, not yet. I'm getting my master's degree right now, and then I'm going to go for the doctorate. But I should be a professor once I get the master's, and while I'm working on the doctorate, I'm hoping. There's got to be Doctor
Hey,
Slasher. That seems to be important.
that'll be amazing to be Dr. Slasher. Oddly enough, you remind me of my dad. He's done most all of that and added tattoo artist,
Nice.
trucker, bouncer to it as well,
Oh, I
and
was a
probably other
bouncer for
things I do.
years. Yeah, I did the bouncer thing. I was a piercer and scarification artist when I was younger too. Not tattooing, but I don't know. I've lived a very storied life, man. Paranormal investigating, just all kinds of
Oh
shit.
yeah, I even have questions from Sonia about that
Nice.
because yeah, like I wouldn't tell Sonia and Martha that you are also a paranormal investigator. We love to learn from paranormal investigators.
Hell yeah.
Okay. So is there anything else you'd like to add? Because I am not qualified to have a decent wrestling conversation. I'm just going to tell everybody go to the Aka Chit Chat episode and listen to that because that was a great episode.
Oh, from the wrestling side of it, yeah, that's tough, man. That was a whole chunk of my life I'm never gonna get back.
But it was awesome, I think.
Oh, it was awesome. It was just a career-ending injury that kind of affects me for the rest of my life now, unfortunately. But that's how wrestling is, man. You never know when that move you're gonna do
No.
is gonna be the move that ends everything.
Oh yeah, unfortunately, yes, that sucks.
Big time.
I think my biggest question is why does a mime why mime? How did you choose that?
Oh man. So that's an interesting story. So I was hanging around with a group of people, like a big group of people, and in the film industry, and we were always working for other people. We always met up. It was a bunch of the same crew, same actors, and everything. We just kept meeting up on other films, and we're like, you know what? All these filmmakers, man, they're great and all, but they don't seem to know sometimes what they're doing. Not always, but sometimes. And we just thought that maybe if we all got together, we could create a film that I don't know. We'd all have a lot more fun. We'd all have a lot more, investiture in the project and just in everything. And figured we'd give it a go. And me and this guy named Bobby Henry, came up with this cool idea. And it was your typical like a Halloween type slasher film with a mime. And the original version of that, he was just a guy. He was just a guy, just a mime. That was version 1.0. And then we had a lot of conversations and decided to take that further to a degree. He still wanted it to be just a guy, but me being me, I've always got to blur those edges and kind of go around things. And then while we were working on the script, we got a book deal through the first publisher I ever tried to go through, Wolfpaw Publishing. Great person just did not that publishing company just didn't work out from like my time frame in the end, honestly. Um,
Mhm.
During that, Bobby kind of just fell off the project. Just fell off the project, got out of the contract, had nothing to do with any of it anymore through a lot of things I won't get into. But it was definitely on both
Yeah.
sides. It was definitely problems on both sides. And then we set to film The Mime. We started filming
Mhm.
it like three different times. We had to start, stop, start, stop, start over. On the last time we started over, we had a great cast, great crew. Everything went all the way through the end. It was great. Meanwhile, I was writing the novel version of it that had like a lot of extra little details and things like that. And we went to get into the editing phase, and the editor that was going to work for us took a big chunk of our footage and just disappeared. We got that footage back, but then our DP had a house fire, and we lost like 40% of everything.
That's
So
not.
yeah, me and my close buddy Bill Miller, we got together and started editing the project ourselves. We're like, you know what? Screw it. Bill was a pretty seasoned editor. I was learning how to edit, and we sat down and did what we could. Now the movie's not great. The Mime is not the best film. It's meant to be like a dark comedy horror, and you can tell there's certain things that happen in the
Mhm.
film that you can tell you can't take it completely seriously. But we just did
And
not
you
have the
play at
footage
least
left.
two roles.
I do. I have a moment in a cafe that was completely
Mhm.
that was improv, that which was hilarious. Yeah. And I've got I play the mime as well, which was my favorite thing to do because I had done silent killers and speaking killers before then, but never as a mime. So I had to go into like my theater background to pull that one off and just learn some new skills basically. And we
Mhm.
made it. We cobbled it together with what we could because we had to deal with the American Breast Cancer. Yeah, American Breast Cancer Society, I think is what it was. That every time we sold a copy, 50% of that would go straight to them, which still happens to this day, by the way. If we sell something in a convention, or I don't handle the convention side of it. That's my old partner that I don't work with currently. But anything that's sold through Amazon comes to me, and then half of that goes to to that foundation.
Awesome.
And
I
it's what it
I'm
was.
glad I
It's
could
not a
help with
great
that.
thing. Yeah. I
That
probably
is
sell
what
about
killed my grandma.
I probably sell one of those movies these days. Like once every couple months, someone finds and buys one for
Mhm.
some reason. I'm not sure why, but it's out there. It's out there. And then, of course, I got the chance to redo everything, and with Patty over
Mhm.
at Facor. Actually, the book went through several iterations when I left Wolf Paul. It went over to Mestwala Fantasy Games, which they released it the original version of it, which when the book was also just called The Mime, the movie and the book were released actually in the same day. So that was like a
Mhm.
big publicity thing I was trying out. And then I put out something else through them called Campfire Tales, Voices from the Dark. And I had this amazing illustrator, Erica Blackstock. She's local here in Dayton, Ohio. I do all the illustration. She's amazing. Please go check her out. And
Mhm.
then my time in that company ended. There were some things I just, I wasn't happy at the end of the day. They weren't going to keep me if I wasn't happy. So, I left. I tried indie publishing in there for a little bit. I did okay. I changed the mime a little bit, but I hadn't uploaded the copy of it because I got a deal through SSP Stitched Smile Publications. They took me on a lot of, big promises, etc.
I
They were
did
at the
not
time
mean
were a
to do that.
slightly bigger
Yeah.
company. Yeah, they were a slightly bigger company at the time. And what happened was they just took on way too many authors too quick. And what was a promise of like maybe a maximum 2 year turnaround, suddenly we're towards the end of 3 years. There's no movement whatsoever on their end, like in the editing. There's just nothing really happening.
Mhm.
And then I'm told that they're going to shut down. They're not going to be a normal publishing company anymore. They're going to go ahead and still release my book if I want them to. But then just all these things happened, and I got obviously a little irritated about that. Again, good people, just bad business model, unfortunately. So I
Mhm.
thought I was going to have to go on my own again, and then I met up with Patty and Paycor, and it just seemed like a natural fit because I'd already been doing some anthologies with her, and then we now have Silence is Crimson, which is the
Mhm.
same book as the Mime with a lot of changes, additions, and just random shit and subtractions. Because actually, originally there was a recipe for cake in the original version of that, and I think I took that out for the current version. I can't remember. I haven't read the newest
I
version in a
know.
while.
I don't remember either, but I know I definitely didn't expect the twist of what came to Earth.
Yeah. That was an addition. I'd gotten so many questions about the creature, like, what is this creature? Where does it come from? What's the backstory? And when I got the chance to sit down and really rewrite things, I was like, oh, I can tie some things that I'd always been wanting to tie in that was always kind of a plan for like a sequel or something. I was like, why wait till then when I can just go ahead and add it now? So yeah, that
Oh
was
yeah,
a fun turn of events, and I can tell you that you find out more and more about the creature and every novel in that trilogy. Like I'm writing two right now, about three-quarters of the way done, my official first draft, and there's been a lot more like background information and things pop up about that.
I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to a reread when Mayan's not so packed with things.
Right.
Okay. One of the other questions from one of your viewers and readers, Sonia, was what was the first horror movie that you remember watching with your mom?
Oh, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I was 4. It was the summer before I turned 5, and I was cheering for Leatherface and screaming, "Chainsaw, chainsaw." And to preface that, it's because I grew up with my mother working in like indie horror films and stuff, and I was on set already at that age. So to me,
Oh,
I'd sat in on the special effects and the makeup department. I knew it was just a guy. I knew this was a movie
yeah,
and that this was just a guy in a mask. Probably someone like my uncle. I've talked about that a lot in a lot of interviews in the past, where I just assumed it was my uncle or someone my mom knew, and this was just a movie they made.
yeah,
And it wasn't
that is
until I
awesome.
found out that it wasn't one my mom made, and she didn't know who was behind the mask. Then I got a little nervous after she told me that at first. Then I calmed down and just really enjoyed it, man. But I watched that and Exorcist in the same day. And oddly enough, as a kid, I remember The Exorcist, the first one, boring me. It bored me a little bit. I was so pumped up from Texas Chainsaw that I got to that. But of course, then I watched Exorcist 2 and loved that one.
I think I can totally understand that because horror movies would be in the background for sound
Yeah.
at my house, so it's just something we were used to.
And there
Um,
was some my mom wouldn't let me watch. Like if it had a lot of nudity, she when I was young, when we were young, like she kind of shied away from
mhm,
us watching those, or she tried to. It always ended in my brother and I hiding behind the couch when she was watching things with my cousin, and just kind of watching the movie. And at some point in time, yeah, I have to think that they knew we were back there. Like of all the movies, we thought we were sneaking behind that couch and watching, without them knowing. They had to have known we were there, man. We were not that quiet.
oh yeah. In the end, she just went fine, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I think I watched the first three Nightmare on Elm Streets from behind the couch. I know I watched some of the Jasons, the first few Jasons from behind the couch, and the first part of the It miniseries, which completely wrecked me. For some reason, that miniseries, when I was a kid watching it, man, I only saw the first part of it. I think it was like the first 15, 20 minutes of the first installment. And my mom caught us because she said it was Stephen King and she wasn't going to let us do that yet. So she kicked us out of the room. But the scene in the very opening, when there's the kid outside and there's like the clothesline,
Mhm,
you kind of see Pennywise between the sheets, and he comes out and you see his teeth, and the next thing you
mhm.
know, there's a bloody tricycle on the ground. That affected me so bad I had nightmares for like a week, and my sister found out, and she saved her allowance for like weeks. I think it was like a month, and bought a replica from a nearby, like a local mask shop, and like put clothes on it and stuffed the outfit and everything. And my brother and I had bunk beds. His like went this way, and then mine went this way, like just the two separate
Mhm.
direction bunk beds. So she stuck this dummy with a Pennywise mask on it in the bed with me. And I woke up, saw it, started screaming. My brother like looks over from the top bunk, looks down, he starts screaming. We're losing it. Of course, my mom finds out what's gone on. She's trying not to laugh at us because it was obviously a great prank. We were pranking family, but that led into my greatest revenge. My sister had the multi-level cardboard Barbie dream house with the elevator. I took it
Mhm.
outside, I doused it with lighter fluid, and I set it on fire. That was that's my revenge for that
That
prank.
is one heck of a revenge.
No, it was, and I should have gotten a lot more trouble. But my sister runs out there screaming. Mom comes out trying to figure out what's going on. She's like, "Why did you do that?" I was like, "Dude, she put Pennywise in my bed," and Mom was like, "Okay," and just walked back into the house after she put
That
out the fire. By the way,
well, yeah, I figured she'd put out the fire, but
yeah,
still, that I can picture that. Um, okay. What was your first scary story you ever wrote?
First scary story I ever wrote. That was an actual short. Um, when I was a kid in fourth grade, I wrote this story about gremlins, and this is actually an ongoing. I guess when I was a kid, I called it a nightmare, but now I call it a dream. That's going to be a story actually soon. Um, I've told this story as at a campfire before. Um, the short version is in my dream there were these creatures that looked just like gremlins that infested neighborhoods, and every spring everybody had to round them up and kill them, and you know, and deal with it until next spring, kind of a thing, like an extermination thing. And I wrote this full story, and I remember my sister dies in the story, and my teacher was so upset that she calls my mom and brings my mom in, and my mom's like, "What? Did you see what your son wrote?" Yeah, I saw him. I helped him with it at home a little bit. Well, what do you mean? It's horror. He's not a violent kid. He's probably the nicest, calmest, most polite kid in your class. He just has a vivid imagination, and in our home, we don't limit that. We keep things in context, and we talk, but we don't limit creativity at home, as long as no one's getting hurt. And I ended up getting a like technically I got suspended from school. It was an in-school suspension for writing it. But that just cemented the fact that I needed to keep doing what I was doing.
I got sent to the counselor, and then they talked to my dad. But this was after my mom had passed, so it's like they just chalked it up to that, and we went on with our day.
Yeah,
But it hasn't stopped. It's something that she loved. I figured I'd continue doing it. I totally get that.
exactly. Exactly. But yeah, it was
Okay.
I worked in many a counselor's office. Many a counselor's office, principal's office over shit I wrote in school for sure.
Oh yeah. They tend not to understand. Normal people don't get it, but I think I can honestly say it sounds like your family, my family, and Josh's family are definitely different.
Oh yeah.
But then
Yeah, our
again,
family's definitely different.
you know what they were named after of which movies. So yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
the Michael Myers and Jason Voorhees. So
Oh
um
yeah.
what was your favorite haunt experience? Like being haunting as in either one that was told by you by somebody or one that
Like a
happened to
paranormal
you.
haunting or a haunted attraction?
Yeah. No, the
Which one?
paranormal.
Okay, so this is tough because I actually have. So when I do the traditional campfire thing that I do, where someone can pay me to show up to a campfire or whatever, online, however it gets worked out, I actually have an entire like 2 hour set about the house I grew up in, and I've only published officially one short story from that, and it was about the last event that happened that caused us to move. I can legit tell you that I did belong to a family that left a house because it was so thoroughly haunted and violent that we literally left one night and dad paid someone to pack it up and we moved. We did not step foot back in that house again. And my dad
Hmm.
supposedly didn't even believe in it at the time. And he had excuses, I was having night terrors or people were seeing things or there must be black mold that we don't see or, which he, looked through every wall and found nothing. But there was always some reason not to believe us and the rest of the family. But that last night, and that story is obviously it's a story, so I had to fictionalize certain elements of it. But for the most part, it was I'd say about 80% of what happened. Um, my dad often went on long bass fishing trips for the Ohio Bassmasters Club, and he did stuff on television for bass fishing and things back then a little bit. And he was either gone doing that, or he was a salesman for this machine company he worked for. So he'd be overseas and so many different countries, like working in their factories, redesigning their layout, everything. And so he was gone most of the time. And this was actually a weekend he was gone for. And we had that kind of house where kids didn't come spend the night with us. We were the house
Hmm.
in the neighborhood that everyone knew was haunted. Like apparently before my mom even bought the house, before I was born, it was already that house, and they didn't know that when they bought it. Um, but they were young, poor, and there was nothing they could do about it by then. Um, so it
Yeah.
was just me, my brother, my sister, and my mom. We didn't like to sleep alone in our rooms when dad wasn't around because activity was always way worse when dad wasn't home. So the three kids, we'd make pallets on the floor, like tons of blankets, sleeping bag, pillows, just like little forts. And we'd sleep on the floor and mom would sleep on the couch. and we brought we watch movies, horror movies, comedies, whatever. We just eat candy, popcorn, and watch movies. And we were partway through Critters, the first Critters movies, first time I'd ever seen it, and the lights just went out like partway through the movie, and I had to go to the bathroom like really bad. So my mom, grabs the flashlight, turns it on, takes me down, and I go to the bathroom, and like the storms are it's getting worse and worse and worse. And when I was in there, I looked in the mirror and I saw what to me looked like my brother and sister behind me, but they weren't alive. They were ghosts. Like they looked dead to me. There was blood. So I start screaming in the bathroom. I can't open the door because somehow it's jammed and it shouldn't be. So mom shoulders it open, like, has to almost break down the door to get to me. Meanwhile, the lightning is just going insane outside. We start to come back down the really long hallway, and the only door we pass down the hall is the door to my bedroom. I mean, shadows just sort of scoot out right behind us, and you can see them like in the flashes of lightning. You can see these shadows just standing against this wall, and there's no one there. There's no people there, and this was the shadows
Mhm.
was a very common and dangerous occurrence in our home. So we get into the living room, and my sister and brother are screaming, and you can see these shadows all over the walls in the living room, like coming from out of the hallway we're just in to just standing around the living room, just menacing. And mom's like, "Okay, you know what to do." Some things similar to this had happened in the past, so we all grabbed flashlights, tried to run out the front door. Wouldn't open. It was stuck. It wasn't locked. It was just couldn't be opened. Mom tried the front windows. Nothing. They started getting closer, so we go into the dining room, and if we can make it through the dining room past the kitchen, there is a back door. The problem about that is that also is where the laundry room is, which has no windows, and it's like a dark pit back there, and it was the most terrifying room in the house all the time, even in the middle of the day. I could stand in that room with my dad in the middle of the day and still be terrified of that room. The back door also would not budge. We somehow ended up making it back into the living room, and just slowly these things are just closing in. Now you can just see them standing, not even in the shadow against the wall. You can see a black mass just standing in front of you. And we're surrounded on all sides, and I can hear my brother and sister screaming, my mom calling out to us, and then all I hear in my ear is, "You'll never be alone again." That's it. That's all I remember. And then I woke up the next day, and we all just kind of get up off the floor. We all had kind of like scratches and weird things like that. Um, Still couldn't open any of the doors. We did manage to open the window in mom and dad's bedroom, the big window. So we opened that and we hopped out. It's a 1-story house, and then we drove to my grandma's house. And dad came home. He was in China at that time. He came home from China. Mom picked him up from the airport, and he's like, "Well, why are you staying at your mom's?" And she, explained everything. And they make it to grandma's, where me and my sister and brother were staying, and they're outside having an argument. We can kind of hear them. So my grandma kind of scoots us away from the door so we don't hear anything. And basically, dad's like, "This is ridiculous. I'm gonna go there and stay the night by myself finally," because he's never done this before. He's like, "And tomorrow you guys can come back as soon as I tell you that everything's fine." My mom's like, "You go for it." That ends up coming back about 2 a.m., screaming, waking us all up, like freaking out, like pale, shaking. But he won't tell us what happened. All he would say is like, "I get it. We'll move." That's it. He would not give any details. He would not finally say he believed us. Nothing. Just that was it. And so we moved. We stayed at grandma's. We moved. People moved. Packed up our stuff. We moved to a new house, which was also haunted, but not a dangerous. It wasn't such a dangerous situation. I've never lived in a dangerous haunting situation since then. But I believe I'm haunted, so no matter where I go, things just kind of follow me. But
I
I
am
don't know. I guess
too,
I've
so I
managed.
totally get it.
Yeah, I've managed to block out most of the terrible stuff. So
I figured out how to keep the terrible stuff away,
hmm
or if not, I figured out who to call for help.
right, that was an important part of that when I was young, was figuring that out until I figured out how to do it on my own. And then I became the person for a long time, still occasionally the other day, actually, yesterday, I think it was, where there are still people that will call me to have me help them figure things out.
Oh yeah, that is actually a very wonderful thing to have a friend that can help with that.
Yeah. So many people don't know what to do is the thing. That's what got me into, I know it got me more into writing, it got me more into horror, but at the same time, it got me into the paranormal, not just because it was interesting, because I was helpless for the first 9 years of my life and terrorized for 9 years until we moved. I don't want to go through that again. I don't want anyone I know or love to go through that again. What can I
That's
do about it?
because there are way too many people that thinks that it's nonsense and it's not real.
Yeah, and I have no
So
problem
that
talking about
is,
it publicly. I talk about it publicly all the time. If people don't believe that, that's on
dude,
them. I don't ridicule them or put them down, and if they think I'm crazy for believing in it, well, I mean, my whole career is based on me being crazy, so I really don't mind.
yeah, that is like one of the things like Sonia and I were talking about, and then we found out that you like supernatural, and then one of her big questions turned into, was there anything in supernatural that was real, something you could use in a haunting situation?
Dude, there's a lot of stuff in there that's actually taken from myths, legend, or from things that people have put a lot of stock and faith in. Salt. Everything they did with salt at any point in
Mhm.
time ever. Yeah, yeah. A lot of the symbols they use, like some of them were completely fabricated and made up, or they were the combination of existing symbols of protection and things like that. But I mean, there's just a lot of things they did. That where they talked about silver. Again, it depends on how much you believe in things. Lead
Mhm.
works in certain situations. Iron, especially, that's a good one to dissipate ghosts. Of course, if you believe in Fae, that's a whole other conversation. But there was just I was surprised watching that show, like how much of things that I learned growing up were in there from, growing up part time on the reservation to just all the other things that I learned and explored, and the side of my family that heavily practices Strega. I think that yeah, that's how we pronounce it, Strega. So I've learned a lot from a lot of different people from a lot of different faiths, religions, beliefs, cultures, and I've just kind of collected all that information and seeing so much of it in that show, like it hooked me in season one, and I just never stopped watching it.
That is awesome. That is useful. And now I can look up uh, and learn more with the name
Yeah,
of what you practice.
there's all kinds of
Um,
things. My whole belief structure is it's called Razism. It's a series of things I have learned from all different every religion and cults, religions, random people that were just spiritual things that I've seen and learned on my own or done. It's just a collection of everything.
that is awesome. And what is your favorite haunter experience, as in from the job?
Oh man, there is so many. Every year I think this is the story. And then for 28 years there's always been one the next year that's bigger and bigger and it just keeps going that way. Um One of my favorites from this year is we had a group of 4 people that came through on acid, and for a while people knew they were on something but didn't know what it was. Well, they got to me and I saw all the telltale signs that I needed to know about what was happening. And then one of them actually mentions the trip that they're on, and clearly it was a they were speaking about drugs from the whole context of that conversation, not just a they drove to get here trip. It was they were tripping
Yeah,
pretty hard, and they come around into the freak show,
yeah.
and my character JB, he's an asshole. Just he's an irredeemable asshole. He leads the freak show. He's a grifter. That this is what he does. So as soon as they came around,
Hmm.
I got my wolf man, my Mexican wolf man, Sam. He got him, did his whole spiel, passed him off to me. I get up, stand on the stage, get off my throne, stand on the stage, and jump down and just get right eyeball to him. Before I say anything, my beard lady's up right next to me, just immediately just standing there. We're staring at them, like real quiet, real uncomfortable. And the guy right in front of me drops on his knees and starts praying to me. Like it was the weirdest thing. And then I was like, get
Oh,
up. And I start cussing him out. I just let him have it. I went off on it, and his eyes are wide. He is crying like he's having some kind of existential experience right in front of me. And we just did our act, but like times 10 it, like stayed on them. We probably kept them for only about 3 or 4 minutes, but
mhm.
it probably felt like an hour to them. And it was just to see someone react. I mean, I knew
Felt
what they
like
were on.
forever.
This was a religious experience for this guy. Like clearly, like this was his life in that 3 to 4 minutes that we had him, and it was I've had plenty of people come through on different substances before, but for some reason that guy just it's something that I'll remember for the rest of my life.
Oh yeah. Do you have a favorite horror trope?
Yes. There's a couple. One of them is like coming of age. Coming of age horror is probably one of my just all time favorite tropes, like seeing how the kids grew up at different, ages, how they handle the world around them. That's a lot of my short stories actually involve uh, the main character as a child, or at least a young teen, or something of that nature,
Mhm.
or someone remembering something that happened in their childhood. Small town horror is my second favorite. Literally everything I write is definitely small town horror, and it all takes place in the very real, actually, Riverside, Ohio. It's a real place.
Riverside.
Um, yeah, Riverside, Ohio. Even the locations that I use in the books, in the stories, are actual real locations you can go to. A few aren't there anymore, but you can go see the old building, or I can point out where it was. But it's all very real stuff. Um, yeah, man, it's it's kind of crazy. So like, I always use that town horror because I like it, where you don't know what happens in a small town. You drive through one on a vacation. I've just always stopped and wondered, what's the story here? Why is this place
Mhm.
abandoned, or why are all the buildings shut down, or why does everything not open until 3 p.m. and closes at 7? Like, just weird little questions that you get from seeing things as you go, and I just kind of wrapped all those into my hometown. And the last one
Oh,
I would
yeah.
say is, I like the trope that monsters are more, or that mankind is more monstrous than the monsters. But that's another trope I play with sometimes.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I can see that. The whole mankind is more monstrous than the monsters
Yeah,
in real life a whole lot. Um,
very much so.
okay. You had said you were a Doctor Who fan. Do you have a favorite Doctor?
Yes, David Tennant. There's not even a question
Oh,
there. I'm just jumping straight to Tennant. Before that, it was Baker, Scarf Baker. He was my favorite
oh
growing
yeah.
up, but then I saw Tennant and I was sold.
I think they're generally tied in my head.
Yeah, yeah,
But
and
then
I mean, I,
again,
I like a lot of other doctors too. Like, I like all the doctors. There's not a single doctor that I can just tell you that I didn't like. I like them all for different
mhm.
reasons. Those are just my tops.
And did you notice River wasn't lying about the part about him being a wizard? Two times he
Yes.
was people who played doctors were wizards in other movies.
Yep. 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 I've watched most of this stuff. The only thing I've not seen that David Tennant has done, I haven't seen all of Broadchurch, but I've seen every show he's been in, every other movie he's ever done, all kinds of his stuff, man. But I've not finished Broadchurch yet. He's a fantastic actor.
I haven't either. I think I've only gotten through the first season.
Yeah, that's where I hit season one, and I was like, okay, I'll get back to it, and then I got super busy.
Yeah, I've sort of just got distracted because lately, like I said last night, I'm on the Raz dive into your literature because of the new everything, the new edition,
Yeah.
and it is awesome to go through and see your stuff. I just didn't expect to be able to join as your PA.
Right. Right.
Um,
It's a different world, like when you see what's behind the curtain sometimes, man. And for me,
and this,
it's weirdly personal because I deal with a lot of my personal stresses and actual issues and loss
mhm,
in all these characters in these places, and it's the only real reason why Silence is Crimson became my most important project and became a trilogy. The entire concept is me dealing with the suicide of my brother who suffered from schizophrenia. And we always talked about how together we were one person, which is where the combination of Riker and the
mhm.
creature. Uh, my brother was pretty much Riker, and I'm the creature in that analogy. And us coming
Oh
together is
wow,
sort of, that was kind of, what we were. And that's not what we were in real life, obviously, but and it was also the play on his schizophrenia and living with something monstrous he believed in his head. So
yes, I can't wait to read the end of number two. I'm looking forward
oh
to
yeah.
that.
And Leslie and Eddie, which were only in the very opening, the very beginning of Silence and Crimson, were actually our best friends when we were growing up. And I still talk to both of them actually frequently. They're aware of the book. But the two of them become main
That is
characters
awesome.
in the sequel.
Oh yeah, they were. Yeah, the sequel so far is awesome. What I've been able to
There's a
read.
Yeah, there's a number of returning characters, man. Let a what seemed to be like almost throwaways in the first one, like Eddie and Leslie. Um, Eddie's little sister that you don't get to meet in the first book is in it. They have two
Mhm.
best friends that are twins, Jason and Michael, which
Oh yeah, I
they
love
tie
that.
in. Yeah, they tie into, actually, that's not even their origin story as characters. There is another novel I'm writing for school, which I won't get into right now. That is actually the origin story of Michael and Jason, and where they come from and who they are.
I
And
love that you
let's
had a
see.
game shop.
Oh yeah, that's a very real game shop. Pete is a very real human being, and I asked his
Hmm.
permission a long time ago if I could do some filming in his shop, and it's always been a yes, 100%. Whenever you just let me know. So until I
Oh
can get
yeah.
back to filming with COVID and everything, still kind of, ramping down. I decided to just write a big chunk of a scene in part two, and then I think
Hmm.
you'll see that shop again in three. I'm thinking about it. I'm toying with it. And then, of course, there's Gina, which only has a very small mention in the first book, and you find out um, in like the more modern day section of the book that Gina was the chief's partner when he was still before he became the chief,
Hmm.
and she becomes a main character as well. Um,
Oh yeah.
see, poor Alfred Bates, who eats it in the first book, the old mayor, his daughter is
Hmm.
also a main character.
Oh
So
yeah.
you get a lot of cool people, a lot of cool people, a lot of new locations, and
I
a lot
love
of big
how you
reveals.
just continue to add random side characters in new stuff. It's like, oh, wow, I didn't expect that in this story over here in this odd
Yeah.
destination.
Part of it is padding, because you got to kill people off, right? Like there's a formula to this. Like you have
Oh
to kill people. You have to kill some big characters, some little characters. You have to introduce like an Eddie if we're gonna go Stranger
yeah.
Things,
Hmm.
just to kill them immediately, to screw with people. You have to do all these little things to move a trilogy
Hmm.
forward, especially.
Oh yeah.
And the trilogy does have an ending. Like I wrote the ending before I wrote the first line of the first book, so
Okay.
everything's been building towards this really insane ending.
Yeah, really odd thing is I know how Friday's going to die in my book, but I don't know the full middle part of the book because I have the first
Yeah,
part and the end because I it's a nightmare that I keep having over and over. So I just turned it into her end.
yeah. And then that's the fun part. You got to build the middle. You got to figure out how one event leads to another and how it all kind of wraps up and ties in. And that's kind of I'm
Oh,
at that point now where I'm in, where I'm at in book two is the big decisions. It's the who lives for sure, who's going to survive for the third, because the second book takes place exactly a year after the first one. The third one picks up just the next day after the second
mhm.
one. So the timeline ramps up, everything ramps up really quick in two. Like it when about halfway through, it starts ramping up and it just doesn't stop, and then it ends. You think on an interesting, an odd note, but clearly, there's going to be a part three. So there's a cliffhanger. It's just
That is
not the
awesome.
same. I think the first one was a very tropey cliffhanger. Like they shoot the bad guy, they go back and the body's missing. Like that's the whole ending
Yeah, it
trope
was
of
a
the first one.
trope. It is one of those I could see which horror movies you got stuff from.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's so many. Like every character actually, at least, every single character in there just about is based on some horror name of some kind. Like John Romero, for example, was obviously John Carpenter and George Romero.
Mhm.
That's the chief, and he's based on my best friend James Cooper, who's a fairly well-known indie actor who's also ex Special Forces, ex police chief. So like
Mhm.
everything I wrote from the police aspect of this was based on 4 or 5 hour interview him and I did on the phone once, and I just wrote everything down. And now if I've got a question about any of it, I just call him
Mhm.
or I message him. And he also played that character in the movie and is about to voice that
That
character
is
again
cool.
for the audio project we're gonna do for it.
I look forward to that podcast.
Oh yeah, yeah, me too, man. Any excuse to get the old crew back together and hang out, especially Cooper. So I'm really excited. And
Oh,
Jenny, who played Samantha, we got her back on board.
oh yeah. It's very interesting to see your Jennies.
Yeah, yeah,
Being Jenny, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Um, do you like Scooby Doo?
Oh yeah, dude. I grew up on Scooby. My favorite was probably the 13 Ghosts of Scooby Doo with yeah, that was the best thing ever. I don't know why, but watching Vincent
Did you
Price
see
like
the
being
movie?
combined with it. Which one? The original two live
There's
actions or
now a
any I haven't
movie.
seen. Well, there was
Okay.
before.
Yeah,
There was
they no, I'm
late
saying they
90s, early
made a
2000s.
movie to end the series
What, a part 3?
where they get the 13th. Yeah, they made a movie
Oh,
to where
that
they get
one.
that
Yeah, yeah.
last ghost.
Yeah. Yeah, I did see that one. I loved that one, man. I thought you were talking about the Scoob movie or whatever that they made recently, which I have not seen, by the way.
No, I was talking about you were talking about the 13
The
Ghosts,
original.
and
Okay.
there is a 13 Ghost movie.
That was a good one. I really did like the tie-in, the whole wrap up for that.
That is
It
cool.
was awesome.
And well, yeah, and that is awesome. It's one of Sophia's favorite things. She's like, I love Lincoln, but does he like Scooby Doo? Because she
Yeah,
has a Scooby Doo dressed as a bunny that she likes to sleep with.
it's awesome.
So
Yeah, one of the first
yeah.
voices I ever learned as a kid was probably Scooby. When I grew up being really into voice acting just as a kid and would always try to mimic everything around me. But yeah, Scooby was probably the first
Mhm.
cartoon I learned how to do.
That rocks. Oh yeah, and Jazz loves it.
Oh yeah.
Um, Sonia's son.
Okay. Okay. Hey Sonia.
I don't know if I've told you about him.
A little bit. A little bit.
Yeah, I think I. Okay, I'm at least starting to figure out this app. Okay. I think the only thing that's left on the list was what was your favorite concert experience?
Favorite concert experience, hands down, Guar, and I'm going to tell you why. If you're not familiar with Guar, they're a metal death. You can't really classify what kind of metal Guar is. They're just Guar. Um, they're very bloody, very violent. They kill people on stage, each other. There's all these special effects happening. Um, there's bodily fluids that get poured on people, all kinds of stuff. They're insane shows. Guar's gotten movies. Made appearance in different TV shows. Like they were like the coolest horror thing you could ever imagine, like musically. And I had gotten this. It was the summer semester. I had got a chance to go to Ohio State for their creative writing department. I was one of 12 kids picked throughout the country, and one of only 8 that showed up. And I was down there doing my classes, and I was walking up and down High Street like I always did. And so I started growing a beard pretty heavily when I was about 9 or 10. So I looked a lot
Mhm.
older than I was. It was the summer before I turned 13 that I was down there. Everybody thought I was like 18, 19, 20. No one, I didn't get carded for cigarettes. I went everywhere I wanted around Columbus and no one cared. And some guy was passing out concert tickets for free. I was like, "Oh, what is it?" He's like, "Oh, it's for Guar at the Newport Music Hall, which by the way is an old opera house, and it's still got like the all the opera stuff in there, dude. It's amazing." And I was like, "Oh, I'll take some. I got a pair of tickets." Well, the only person that could go with me because my brother wasn't able was my sister, who's a couple years older than me. She's the oldest of the kids. She said she'd go with me. She heard about Guar. It was interesting to her, so she'd go. My mom was
Mhm.
like, "All right, I'm gonna let you guys go to this concert alone, but I'm going to be here in the parking lot the whole night because I'm just going to bring a book and read because she was a big, obviously she's a big reader. So
Mhm.
she was just going to sit in the parking garage and read her book. So if anything happened, there we were. And I
Mhm.
literally, 12 years old, got to walk into the Newport Music Hall and just get right on the floor, get every bodily fluid known to man, like shot on me, like fake, obviously synthetic stuff, and see the
Mhm.
coolest shit ever that a 12-year-old can see, including going through a fake organ grinder to get backstage and meet the whole band. And then a riot
That is
ends up
awesome.
breaking out. Like while I'm backstage, a riot ends up breaking out in the main concert area, and everybody like just ditched. So the band ditched, everyone ditched, and then me and my sister had to make our way back out of the building through a riot to get to the car to go.
That
It was
had to be
intense.
insane.
It was an intense night, man. But seriously, I've been to a lot of great concerts, a lot of awesome things, but that's the one that will forever be stuck in my head.
That is cool. Okay. Now that we've talked about so many amazing things, how about you tell everybody how to find you?
It's real simple. I made it as simple as humanly possible. RazTslasher.com. Everything connects there. Everything I do connects there. And even more things are about to get added to that site soon to connect even more stuff. But you can read the free stories they offer. There's links to everything that we sell. The anthologies that I'm in, the novels that I write, merchandise soon. You can also hear anything that's ever been narrated by a narrator of all my short stories. I put every single link up there because I get that stupid thing from a lot of friends and family. Oh, I don't read. Which, as a writer, man, don't ever tell your writer friends or family that you're not going to read it because you just don't read. That's lazy.
Mhm.
That's it's terrible, man. It's hurtful. So what I did for people so they didn't have to tell me, oh, I don't read, is I just made that section and I put all the narrations up. So now I can pretend that they're reading it and they can just go
Mhm.
listen to it and I won't know the difference.
Oh yeah.
So
And
it
then
all works
Sonia
out.
says thank you.
You're welcome. But yeah, I mean, I've worked with a lot of great narrators, man. I would say I've loved every single person, like just been in love with every voice that has ever done any of my work. But the chance to get narrated by Otis Jiry was
Oh, that was
that
awesome.
that's a career like making thing for me. Like that is something that no matter what does or doesn't happen in my career, that happened, and that's a crowning achievement in my brain.
Oh yeah, that was amazing. He's always great.
Yeah, I got a really great friend named Natalie that does a lot of stuff over there for Chilling Tales, and she just every time they need something in particular, she's always hitting me up, asking me like, "What have you written lately? I haven't seen what you've been writing. What have you been writing?" And she usually gets me going and gets me motivated and picks up some stuff here and there from me. So it's pretty amazing, man.
Oh yeah, definitely. So, okay, thank you for coming. Thank you for
Oh.
teaching me how to do this. And you are awesome, and I look forward to continuing to work with you.
I'm really excited about it, man. Like you've already organized me more in the last couple of days than I've been in the last decades. That's a
I
good thing.
didn't expect that. But yeah,
Yeah.
like I said, I am relatively new and trying to figure out technology as I go. So
Oh man.
you are
Yeah. Like I said, if neither of us know how to do it, we'll figure it out together, man. That's how we're gonna do it. It's gonna be awesome.
okay, everybody. Have a great night. Thank you for
Well,
coming. Well,
one
it's
more thing.
daytime.
One more thing. I want to make sure people know. Over at PBDC, the Psycho Bunny Death Cult
Oh
Network, that I
yeah.
also am on all the time. I have some shows on there. I hang out with my other friends that have shows. Tonight at 10 p.m. is the Year of the Bunny episode because it's the Chinese Year of the Rabbit, where we're
Mhm.
going to be announcing our whole lineup for 2023, all the shows and all the things we got planned coming out. So if you guys have the chance, pop them back over at 10 p.m. You'll be able to find it all over Facebook. I promise. And
Yeah,
definitely check us
I'll
out.
share
Oh yeah.
and I'll be there.
Oh yeah. Definitely. Definitely. You got to be.
I usually am lately.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Yes, please go check out Psycho Bunny Death Club. They are amazing and they have so many wonderful people. So definitely go watch them. They're on YouTube, they're on Facebook, they're probably on 15 other places that I
Oh
don't even
God,
know.
Twitch, Discord, everywhere. If it exists, we're
Yeah.
on it.
Yeah, they're everywhere. So they're like bunnies. So
Yep.
please go check them out. Please go check out Raz. Please go listen to Sonia in the chat on her YouTube page because she has two of my stories up. And thank you all for coming.
See you guys
Bye.
later.